And this 4-hour investment is like paying down on a huge return. This is the best ROI you will ever get. Your return on your investment of what you're going to get back here. Before I share my testimony, I just wanted to say something. I was thinking of when Dr. Shaklee was flying in his plane, how he was going from here to here to here. And you know, Martha has no really benefit in this group as far as earning. She comes as to share with you and to be a part of it because she believes in what she just shared. Just so you know, she just came back from Shaklee, Western Canada, which is the prairies. There's like between here and Columbus would be the next little city up there. They're not like right next to it like we all had here, like Middletown and you're here and here. That doesn't exist out there. She just came back from a lengthy trip in Western Canada, out in the prairies, sharing and taking the message of Shaklee across Western Canada. And I think it just kind of speaks of that philosophy of Dr. Shaklee. She has the heart of Dr. Shaklee, and she goes and talks and spends time, and it takes a lot of energy to stand here and do this, or to travel. You do a meeting and you travel 150 miles, you do a meeting and travel 150 miles to another meeting. You're doing that for day after day after day. That's very, very tiring. So Martha, you are indeed the replica. This will be quick because I know you're tired, and I just want to share this with you. All right, that's right. You can go all day. On April the 17th, I want you to remember that date. That's just less than 2 months ago. I was driving home, and out of nowhere, a thought came to my mind. And these thoughts are all about my health journey over the last 4 years and the impact of what Martha has just talked about and what Nancy and I have been using over the last 47 years, the Shaklee supplements. And 3 words, again, I'm just driving and this is coming. And 3 words came to me, and I want to share those 3 words with you, and I think they'll be encouraging to you. The 3 words were, there's a beginning, there's a sustaining, and there's a keeping. There's a beginning, a sustaining, and there's a keeping. And this has to do with one's food supplement journey. I was 28 years old when I had my beginning. That's when I started Shaklee on July 7th of 1968. I did not, when I sponsored in Shaklee, I did not take any vitamins. I couldn't say I didn't believe in them because I didn't know anything about them. But I did make this statement to the person who told me about Shaklee. I said I would never sell them because I don't need them and I don't think it's probably something I would be interested in. So we're going to concentrate on building our business with the cleaning products, and as you know our story, we did that with Basic H and all that kind of stuff. In the beginning, there's 3 things that are happening. First of all, there's a questioning. So for those who are new, or for those who have just started, there's 3 things that happen in the beginning. 1, there's a questioning. Do these little tablets really work? I mean, is it possible that you could take these little tablets and that they would really work? The second part of the beginning is there's a trying. So you begin to try them. You just try them. You don't really in your mind know or think that they really might work, but you try them because, after all, you are a Shaklee distributor, so you at least try one and see if something happens. And then, when you try them, I think Martha has so accurately shared today, then comes the believing. Because when you question them, and then you try them, and then you believe them, you begin to feel better. So, in the beginning, you notice a difference. The second word that takes place is the word sustaining. For the next 42 years, I have been sustaining. What am I doing when I sustain? I, like you, wanted to learn. Why do these work? Not that they work, but why do they work? So you begin to learn something that you really had no knowledge of ever, and you begin to grow and learn and listen to others who have a lot more knowledge than you'll ever have and share with you. And so there's a process of learning. During that process of learning, there is a depositing. Because now that you learn and you know, you now start to make that nutritional deposit. And she was talking about how much do you take. Well, the more you learn, the more you take. Because the more you learn, the more you know how good they're for you. So the more you learn, the more you take. So I take a lot because I learned a lot. Okay? But I was making this, in this 42-year part of my life, I am making at that particular time a nutritional deposit in my body. And so what I'm looking to do at that part of my life is to have prevention, to prevent things from happening to me. And so in the preventing part of it, I focused on this. Healthy cells, healthy life. That's my focus. And so I did that for 42 years without any incidents. Small things, but nothing ever major. There's a beginning, there is a sustaining, and there is a keeping. Scripture says, 70, and troubles begin. I didn't say it, God said it. Sure enough, at the age of 70 years old, 70, I began to have a few problems. In keeping, there are 3 things. There will be a testing, there will be a winning, and there will be a living. On April the 10th of 2011, I didn't feel well. My daughter came home and said, Dad, you don't look good. I said, honey, I don't feel good. I went inside the house. I sat for about a minute and a half. I was getting weaker by the second. I said, just get me to my chair. Everybody has a favorite chair, the healing chair. There's something about a chair, And I sat in the chair. My wife was upstairs, and I sat there and I said, get your mom. I think I'm having a heart attack. And so she came, and I said, take me to the hospital. And so the hospital's 6 minutes from us. I arrived at the hospital, and I was immediately ushered into the emergency room. And they put all of the wiring on me, and they said, Mr. Firth, you are having a heart attack. And you have a decision to make. The decision is this. We need to break up that, we know where it is. It's only one artery, we know where it is. And we're going to give you a choice. We encourage you to take a clot buster, which will break up that clot and free that up. You have about less than an hour, or you'll lose 30% of the value of your heart. My wife is there, my daughter's there, and my niece was there, who worked for the cardiologist for years. And my niece and then agreed. And he said, in order to take this, you must sign the paper that says you're responsible because this can take your life. And so I said, I don't want to have 30% of my heart that doesn't work. I will sign it. I signed the paper. They administered the clotbuster. Everything was going fine. They're going to transfer me from St. Mary's Hospital to Buffalo General. My wife, my daughter, and my niece leave. And I'm waiting for the ambulance to come and get me. They came, took me out of the bed, and that's when I remember nothing. At that point, my heart stopped beating, and I died. I stopped living. My heart stopped beating for 28 seconds. They brought me back. I do not remember any of this. My heart stopped again for 9 seconds, and then my heart sustained. When I woke up from the second time happening, it was probably the sickest day of my life. I don't think I've ever felt as bad as I did the moment I woke up. all my family's gone, and I'm holding the hand of a nurse. That's all she's doing is holding my hand. I hear people hollering because they want to make sure they're not putting in me something in me that the other one put in. So they're not mixing up what they're doing. And I said to her, I said, tell me the truth. I said, am I going to live? And she wouldn't ask me at first. And I said, honey, I'm not afraid to die. I said, I know where I'm going. I said, I'm not afraid to die. But I want to know. Tell me. She says, Mr. Firth, I believe you will live. And she was right. But shortly after that is what I want to share with you, because this is the keeping part. The doctor in the ER comes to me when I'm starting to feel a little bit better, and he says to me, Mr. Firth, he says, the only reason you're alive is because, now listen to this, you're so darn healthy. Now that's a paradox right there. He says, you are so healthy that but your body didn't want it to get back. He says less than 9% of all people, because when they apply the paddles to you, that just must smack those cells so hard in your body. And of course, they're putting the electric paddles to me. I don't feel any of this. Every time I watch, I get a little nervous because I see the people bouncing off the top of that bed, you know. Me flying off that bed probably, you know. But he said, Mr. Firth, the only reason you're alive is because you're so darn healthy. So healthy. You see, there's a testing. But there was a winning. And you know, that becomes a living. That's why I'm talking to you today, is because I was so healthy. Martha just talked about that just before she sat down. When I met my cardiologist, this is another strange thing. He is the head cardiologist of the hospital. I will give you, and this is his quote. This is his quote. You're the healthiest patient I've ever had who's had a heart attack. I just saw him last week. I see him once a year. And he went through me. He says, man, you're just so healthy. He said, your EKG, everything is right. You're up, your blood, everything. He says, you're just healthy. And I keep thinking to myself, there is a keeping. You see, the 40-some years I was making the deposits. And when I needed to keep on living, my body was strong enough and healthy enough to keep going when indeed my body had fundamentally died. I was gone. When I went back with Nancy, I wanted to take something back to the hospital, thanking them for saving my life. So he took a nice gift to them. And I met the head nurse of the ER who was on that Saturday afternoon when I went there. And when she came out, she says, oh, we have a name for you. What do you think they call me down ER? They call me the miracle. She says, we call you the miracle. There is a beginning and there is a sustaining, but you're preparing for the keeping. It's the keeping part that you're getting ready for. I had 42 years of sustaining, beautiful. But I needed it when I needed it, and I made the deposits. 2 years ago, my PSA jumped. I watched it, jumped again. My doctor said, you better go see a urologist. He said, Mr. Firth, the only way we can tell what's going on truly is to go in there and take a look and take a biopsy. I said, well, let's do it. I came back about 2 weeks after, and he said, we've got good news and bad news. He said, Mr. Firth, he said, you've got cancer, prostate cancer. But the good news is it's in the right place. If you want cancer, that's the place to have it. He says, we can do something with it. He says, I'll tell you what we're going to do. We're going to watch and wait it. And we won't do anything because it only in prostate cancer, you measure it by what's called a Gleason score. And mine was 3 plus 3 is 6, and that's a lower score, and that you just let it sit, because sometimes it doesn't do anything. I said, fine. We went another 3, 4 months, 5 months. I do it every 6 months. I do a PSA. It jumped, and it jumped again. I went back to the urologist. I did another biopsy. I came back to him and saw him. And I saw him on December the 12th of last year. And he said, Mr. Firth, he says, your Gleason score is 8. And this is his words. Nancy was right there. He says, this will kill you. This will kill you. But this is what he said. This is what he said. Listen. He said, y'all see my blood work. I take a big, I have a very big blood work I do, not just from my own primary, but from Dr. Gross. So I see a lot of my blood work. He says, because you are so healthy, you will come, I would suggest the treatment, and you'll come out the other end, and you'll be fine. And you'll go on to live many good years. Now that's the second time I've heard this. I've heard it with my heart, and then I hear it again with the prostate cancer. Remember the date, April 17th, right? April 17th is the 45th day of my radiation treatment that I just finished on April the 17th. When I met with my oncologist, and he's giving my, kind of going through all the things, and I said to him, I said, Dr. Cuthbert, I think I've done well. And this is what he said. Mr. Firth, you've done extremely well. When I left the clinic and I got in the car, I started to cry. I cried because it was relief, number one. Okay? That's when this came to me. That's when this came to me. April the 17th, driving my car home. This, I wasn't thinking about it. I didn't plan it. This came to me. There is a beginning, and there is a sustaining, and there is a keeping. So, when we make these nutritional deposits that Martha was so beautifully talking about today, that's what you're really doing here. You're getting yourself into a place of good health along the way, maybe a few bumps, but 10's coming if you get there. And there's a little bit of trouble after 70. You just might hit it. And you want to make sure that your nutritional deposit is at its fullest and your body can take that moment when you need it the most to keep on living. Because after all, isn't that the end goal anyway? Is to keep on living. And so I was thinking about this whole aspect of, I was talking in Cleveland 2 weeks ago. Dr. Daggy was there, and he was talking about health span and lifespan. And he wasn't going to talk about it after, but he heard the testimony, and he went back to it, and he said, this is why I'm in Shaklee. This is why I'm here, he said. Just what Bill just talked about. You see, there's a health span, and then there's a lifespan. But if you don't have the health span, you're not going to have the lifespan. And so his whole motivation is the gap in between the health span and the lifespan. It's taking you as far as you can go, being as healthy as you can be, if not getting back as healthy as you can be, and keep on keeping on doing something for somebody else. For is that not the reason we exist? I come not to serve, not to be served, but to serve others. And so we can keep on keeping on. And I wanted to share that with you, that testimony, because I learned something that day. So if you're new here, if you're new, and you're just hearing this for the first time, there's a beginning. There is a beginning. And as you bring this into you, there's going to be a sustaining and a learning. But you get prepared. I hope it never happens, but if it does, that you are ready to make your nutritional withdrawal, and there's something there to withdraw from. That's right. For you who have been in this business for 25 and 30 and 40 years, it's like Dr. Daggy says, you folks do the whole catalog. You know? I love that statement. He says, man, I need Shaklee people to eat the whole catalog. And I'll tell you, that is the best investment you can make in your health and in your life. Because if it was not for that, I would not be here today. So I thank God, and I thank Shaklee, and I thank the person who introduced me to me, and I thank the Marthas of the world who go around the country and all across Canada sharing this good news. It is good news of Shaklee and its many, many benefits and the life that it can bring.